What's up, Fantasy Football Universe? Is the Devy Mastermind of the FFU, SC Romero at the PPR, so on X, here to bring you another Devy Diamond. Now, before we begin, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe so you're up to date every time we go live, whether it be our start sit show or whenever it's coming through throughout the week, just our live show, so you're always in the now. With that, we're going to talk about one of my favorite edge rushers of this upcoming class, assuming he does enter the draft. And that's going to be someone out of Florida State. So all that and more right after the intro.
Listen up closely, let the games begin. Top pick sleepers every week a spin. The FF universe here to help you win. The fantasy football universe.
Perfect. Well, now with that being said, again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the Fantasy Football Universe YouTube channel. We're bringing in content daily to making sure you're staying up to date in your fantasy football leagues to bring home the victory and in your dynasty leagues to know the future, including today's topic of the Devy Diamonds, which is Florida State edge rusher Patrick Payton. Now, one of my favorite edge rushers in the class. This guy is just very fluid in his hips. He knows how to get around the blockers, but that's some of his strengths. Let's get into his history first. Payton was a four-star prospect out of Northwestern High School in Miami, Florida. He had about 10 offers, before he committed to Nebraska, actually, in 2020. Now, hindsight looking back, that would have been great to see him in Nebraska with Raiola. Could you imagine having that kind of defensive and that edge rusher on the side, and then you have Raiola on the offensive side? Ooh, Nebraska's looking good, but they would have been strong with Patrick Payton there. However, he actually got one more offer after he committed from West Virginia after he committed to Nebraska. And I guess that made him realize wait, there's still opportunity out there maybe. So he ended up decommitting from Nebraska. And then later that year, he committed to Florida State. So now here we are. The rest is history, right? So during Florida State, his freshman season ended up being a redshirt season. Only saw 16 snaps. So, right, just redshirt. Let's go on to the next season. After that, his technical second season at Florida State, which was his redshirt freshman season, he had 20 total pressures. So off the gate, he showed his ability to get to the backfield and just gain constant pressure on some quarterbacks there as well. And he actually had 3 sacks as that redshirt freshman season as well, just making his presence known. His beauty is his effectiveness in the run game. He had 18 run stops that game, just showing his ability, his ball tracking awareness to get to behind the line and make sure those ball carriers aren't doing much to get in front of that line as well. Third season came in, he definitely saw an increase in opportunity, doubled his total pressures, had 44 total pressures, and now he had 6.5, 7 sacks. You raise it up right over 7 sacks there, which is just awesome. Just going there, showing what he can do, and then 28 total run stops. Again, just showing his ability to get behind the line and make sure those ball carriers aren't getting much yardage once the ball gets in their hands. Phenomenal. Currently, he is on pace to have 22 total pressures, so we're seeing a little bit not so great, right? Not so great right now. On the bright side, though, he is on pace to record 8 sacks this season, so he's getting behind the ball, getting to the quarterback a lot more. And then his dominance in the run game, again, is on pace for 26 total run stops. Again, that can change. He can have a great game, and that definitely elevates. But again, we're seeing the consistency in the run stops. The run stops are constantly there. He's a guy that gets behind the line quickly. He has the ball awareness to get to the runners and to bring them down as well. So you just love to see that. His missed tackle rate is a little bit right now, just about a third of his tackles are missed. So that's one of his flaws, some of his inconsistencies on actually bringing them down. But yeah, he still can have the effectiveness of being a playmaker in the backfield and making sure he's coming out on big third downs, maybe, third and inches, stuff like that, making sure he's just getting behind the line quickly to get after the ball carriers there. Now, as far as strengths, though, for Patrick Payton, awareness, I've said it multiple times already. His awareness and his ball pursuit, once he gets behind the blocker, is phenomenal. He is second to none. He tracks the ball very well. He sees it. He has the speed to get to the ball carriers and, again, stop them behind the line and get around the blockers. His explosiveness. Off the line, man, sometimes this kid, if you blink, you already lost where he's at because he explodes so quickly and getting off the line and getting ahead of his blockers there, getting that pre-snap opportunity for him. His hip movement. He's not beating them with the strength. He's not one of your bully edge rushers where he's, pushing them back or anything. He's beating them because he's fluid in the hips. He can woo. You know what I mean? He knows how to get around. He has nice swim moves to get around the blockers as well. And that's how he gets behind the line of scrimmage. That's how he gets behind those blockers, whether it be your offensive tackles or if the guard's coming out to double team, whatever it is. That's how he's getting around, just using his hips to get around them and build up on that as well. His high motor, consistently playing with relentless speed, consistently playing like it's his first snap on the game and it's the fourth quarter. It looks like he doesn't get tired on the field. When he's on there, he is giving you 110% every single play. He is not giving up on the play. He's not one of those guys that just stops running. He is attacking every single time he is on the field. And his wingspan, man, he has the wingspan to, if he knows the blocker, the runner's coming his way, he's reaching out. He can, bring them in. He has that wingspan, or even, reaching out, deflecting the ball as well at the line of scrimmage, going back to his awareness. With that wingspan, he makes plays, whether it's disrupting passing lanes or disrupting running lanes. He knows what to do. And again, brings back to that top strength, that awareness. He knows if he needs to stretch out his hand to get to the ball carrier. He knows if he needs to put his hands up to deflect the ball. He knows all these things pretty well. And you see that in his game, which I think is going to make him translate well to the NFL. The natural instincts, just all around, man. He knows how to contain the backfield, right? If he's on the edge, he's closing it in, making sure they can't go outside of him. When it comes, again, deflecting those balls to the quarterback, again, just knowing where the blocker's at, so he makes his quick moves to get around them. His natural instincts to just be a pure tackler, to just be a natural off the edge type of rusher is there. You see that in his traits, and you see it as he progresses. He's taken to his coaching. He's getting better year over year, and he's consistently trying to be the best athlete that he can be as well, which is phenomenal. You love to see that. Now, every athlete has areas of improvement, right? For him, sometimes it's playing at a higher pad level. What I mean by that is sometimes you have to get lower, right, to get around your defender. Sometimes he plays up and allows the blocker to get the best of him. So work a little bit on that, especially when you're going against some of your bigger blockers in the NFL level, your 6'7", 6'8" type of tackles. You don't want to play them straight up. So you got to play a little bit lower and then get around to get to the quarterback or the running back behind the line of scrimmage. Snap timing. A lot of time he is explosive, but a lot of times his explosive, you see some penalties maybe, or it just allows him to lack it. Like he explodes too quick, and thus he plays too aggressive, and that gets into his missed tackles opportunity. He plays too aggressive at times. A lot of times you have these college players, which don't get me wrong, you want to play fast. You play fast in the NFL, but sometimes they have to slow the game down a little bit. I think Payton has to do that, to slow it down slightly, to understand, okay, this is what I can do. This is how I get better, right? Slow it down slightly, and that way he can just not be as inconsistent off the snaps. He's still building explosive and still getting behind those blockers to attack the ball carriers in the backfield as well. Power moves, as I mentioned, he's more fluid. He's more agile with his movements, right? Getting around blockers more than his power. He's not pushing them. He's not bullying them to close running lanes. He's closing them because he's finding the gaps and he's attacking with his speed to get there as well. So he can bulk up a little bit on his strength. He's about 250 or so he can bulk up a little bit so he can make sure he can power those type of blockers around. Again, just form another way to close running lanes there as well. And then the inconsistency. He's someone, he can have a game where he has multiple sacks and maybe 4 or 5 tackles, and then of those 3 of them tackles for losses. And then he's someone that can have 1 tackle and then nothing else beyond that. So inconsistency is there. He can get shut out. Maybe it's against the better blockers that he's doing that, but we need to see more consistency as well. I think he's continuing to develop, and we're seeing it a lot more than we have in his earlier years. But still, you have that worry, right? He's someone that can easily be out of your funnel and just not be great, right? You can easily get him out the game plan, and then he's does effectiveness, right? So you want to make sure you are doing things, or he's doing things to make sure he's a consistent threat off the edge there. Now, right now, he is eligible to be drafted in the 2025 class. Right now, I do have him as a day 2 pick, whether that be second or third round. I think he could slip into the second round because I think he's one of your top edge rushers in this class to me. He's, at least top 6, 7, if not 5 there. And right now, I think Miami would be a good fit for him. I mean, I was thinking about it. It's like, okay, he's from Miami, so you have the hometown favorite, right? And he play in front of the home crowd, so that just makes it for an easy transition to the NFL, right? And on top of that, Miami lost Christian Wilkins this past year to the Raiders, right? That's one of their edge rushers there. They also lost Jalen Phillips. They lost it this season. Jalen Phillips just got injured again. Past 2 seasons, Jalen Phillips has been plagued with injuries. And don't get me wrong, I was big on Jalen Phillips. I love Jalen Phillips. But now it's starting to get a little concerning. Like, bro, like this, you're 2 seasons back to back with injuries, having you to go to IR. Um, that's a little concerning. I think they need help on the edge as well. So why not get a hometown favorite, someone that's been in Florida for his duration, right? Goes to Florida State, played in a high school in Miami. Now you have him coming in back home. It's just gonna get rid of those jitters, right? Because even though it's a national level right now, being at the NFL, now you're home though. There's nothing to get acclimated to. You know what the weather's like. You know what games are like at home. Now you have it going. Of course, it's 50, 60,000 now going to, the Miami Dolphins Stadium, stuff like that. But the jitters are out for him. He goes in there and transitions well into it. And I think maybe he plays behind Jaden Phillips, because Phillips is healthy and he's good. Maybe he plays behind him. But Patrick Payton has the abilities to be a starter in the NFL and to be an impact player in the NFL. Maybe he's playing opposite of Jalen Phillips. Now you have Jalen Phillips and Patrick Payton. I think that adds dominance to the Miami Dolphins and what they could do. So I would absolutely love that spot for him. I think it could be great for him. I think it's just a great move for the Dolphins to elevate their defensive front as well to make sure they're stopping some running backs. I mean, you think about the conference they're in, they're playing who? Brees Hall, James Cook even, right? So you're thinking about those kind of things to say, okay, we need someone to contain those type of running backs. So they're having to be forced up the middle and they're not able to get outside on the edge because we have someone like Jalen Phillips and now Patrick Payton on the outside closing in those so those running backs are able to get in. So I would absolutely love that. As far as the fantasy impact, so I mean, I like him, right? Obviously, if it's sacks favored, yes. He's someone that can get you sacks. I think one day he can be one of your top people in sacks in the league. He's someone that can get that. But just like if you're not the upper echelon edge rushers, you can easily be closed out. I think that's Patrick Kane as well. So he's one of those boom bust type of players where he can have a game where he has 2-3 sacks, 4 or 5 tackle for losses, 7 tackles, maybe things like that, right? You can have those type of games, but you're gonna see some busts in there as well, where he has 1 tackle and maybe a half a sack, if that, right? So he's a boom bust type of candidate. I do like him though. He has the ability to start as well. So if he gets buried on a depth chart, that may hurt him. But I think over years you can elevate him. So I would stash him on my taxi personally. I'm invested into him. I think he's a great prospect out of Florida State. Florida State's not looking so great right now, but don't look at that scoreboard. Don't look at the records. Just look at what these individual players are doing. Patrick Payton will be a day 2 pick in this upcoming NFL draft. I'm excited to see what this kid does and what he does at the next level come the combine. But he is someone you should have on your radars. That's my Devy Diamond for today. Patrick Payton, Florida State edge rusher. As always, I am the Devy Mastermind, SC Romero of the Fantasy Football Universe. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe so you're in the know, knowing when we're going live every single day of the week. And that way you're just aware of what's happening. Again, SC Romero of the Fantasy Football Universe. This is the Devy Diamond. Until next time, peace.